Right, what about Paul Keating's comments this morning, essentially saying that the highest income tax bracket in Australia is perhaps too high?
Isn't it interesting that Paul Keating, I don't often agree with Paul Keating on a lot of things, but on this, I think that we've both seen the light here. We've been speaking for a long time now about how high taxes can suck aspiration out of society, out of the economy, and that's exactly what Paul Keating is saying. That's one of the reasons why the stage 3 tax cuts, as they were originally implemented, were so important, because it removed that bracket creep, addressed bracket creep for anybody that was earning between $45,000 and $200,000. That was about 90% of Australians throughout their working lives would not be affected by bracket creep. Paul Keating is essentially saying that as tax rates get higher and higher, that removes the incentive to work that little bit extra, to have a go, start a business, take the pay rise, get a promotion, and that's what we want to inject back into the economy.
We certainly do, but the question is, what are you going to do about it? If you maintain being the party of lower, simpler taxes, this is going to cost your budget, if you were to get back into power, even more, isn't it?
Well, I think we discussed this last week. In order to reinstate stage 3 from the moment we returned to government, as soon as we could return to government, it would cost around $9 billion a year. What essentially has happened is by backflipping on stage 3, by lying to the Australian public and reversing their commitment that they made over 100 times to stick with the stage 3 tax cuts, this has essentially been a regressive step in our tax system. The government has essentially abandoned all hope of reform and said that they are quite comfortable with bracket creep. Now, that's not something that is a position of the coalition. We will go to the next election with a fully costed tax package that will be in keeping with the original intention of the stage 3 tax cuts. But essentially, because they have been ditched, because of this backflip, they can't go ahead in the timing that we intended. Stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3 were very carefully calibrated. They were very carefully timed. That has gone. We now have to go back to the drawing board, but we will make sure that the tax package that the coalition implements presents lower, simpler and fairer taxes that are in keeping with the original stage 3, but are also fiscally responsible and fully costed.
It sounds like you're saying, and you agree with Paul Keating, that higher income tax at the highest level is sucking aspiration. You still believe in the core principle of what you were trying to do with stage 3 tax cuts. It sounds like you'll go to the next election promising there will be a lower income tax rate at the highest end. Is that right?
Well, I'm certainly not announcing the coalition's tax.
But it sounds like where you're going
this morning, Laura. As much as I would love to do,
I would love you to as well.
To do that. We will make sure that we have plenty of time to present our tax package to the Australian people prior to the next election, and I can assure you that it will be in keeping with the stage 3, with the principles of stage 3, and it will also.
What does that mean
lower,
exactly?
Simpler, fairer taxes, but we have to be responsible here. We have to make sure that we can implement it, that it will, that it's going to have the right effect on the economy, the right effect on aspiration, that it will provide incentives, and that it will be a simpler and fairer package than currently exists.
Okay, we'll keep peppering away at that one, Jane Hume. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Laura.